Hey there folks, welcome back to another video. Today we're taking another look at a Halloween 2018 rehaul by ya boy, Cox Studios, Michael Cox. This guy is another mask based off the Stunt mask. I know I said in my previous video the next one will be based off the Hero, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do that because I had somebody message me and say they wanted one based off my previous one, which was a Stunt. Although my reference has greatly improved, I found a lot more pictures thanks to a couple of different Instagram accounts, and if I remember, I will either throw them up or put them in the description, or the comments rather, whichever one comes first. But I've come to realize that the paint job on the Stunt mask is a lot closer to the Hero mask than I initially thought after seeing a lot more reference for it. So I did message the guy who bought the mask, or who ordered the mask, and I did tell him, hey, this is going to differ quite a bit from the previous one since I found some better reference, and he's okay with that. He doesn't know what it looks like quite yet, just because he wanted to wait until it was completely finished. He also wants some mesh put in the eyes, but I figured I would do this video before I did the mesh. That way you guys can see what it looks like when it's a little bit more screen accurate, because of course they didn't use mesh for the 2018 or the subsequent films after. Any hooser. The hair is used, the hair is kind of styled to my own liking. It's just kind of generally what the 2018 looks like, not specifically based off the Stunt. And also I used camel hair for this one. I really like this camel hair so far. I think it works better for certain masks as opposed to some other ones, but for this, I do think it really does work. So let's go ahead and spin them around, and then we'll get into the handheld and maybe a little bit of outside shots. So yeah. Let's go. So, right off the bat, this guy has more of a whitish and a grayish base tone because that does appear to be more accurate to the Hero mask and the Stunt mask. I know a lot of people think it's more of like an cream colored, and that's what I've thought this entire time. But it does appear to be more of a whitish, grayish base tone. Also, you want to keep in account that lenses and cameras and colors and our color grading can change things severely, but it does appear to be a little bit more accurate. And then when they did kills and ends, it looks like Christopher Nelson went with more of a yellowish mask than 2018. Also, those masks look a lot more polished than the masks in 2018, especially the Stunt. The Stunt has a lot more of a rough texture and rough paint job, which makes sense. It's a Stunt mask, they're not going to spend nearly as much time on it. But if you look at the 2018 Hero, or the one given to Nick Castle, the mask has a lot more hand-painted lines on it. They're a little bit less polished than the kills and the ends, which I know it just makes sense that as Christopher Nelson worked on the masks, he got a little bit more polished and a little bit more tuned in with what he was doing. But the original 2018 has a lot more of a rough texture, which I personally prefer, and I really like this Stunt because of that rough texture. A lot of the Christopher Nolan masks, or Christopher Nolan, hopefully I haven't been saying that this whole time, Christopher Nelson, they do have this little peak right here. A lot of the masks, even the flashback masks, have that, so I did try to copy that at least. But you can see there's not a whole lot going on with the back of the neck. There's just not a lot of great reference for it. So I just kind of dirtied it up a little bit, but I didn't want it to be too distracting, and I didn't want the neck to be too dirty this time, especially compared to the previous one. There is a little bit of hint of blood right there. I did say in my previous video that the Stunt mask doesn't have blood on the eye from what I can tell, but now that I've seen some better reference, I can tell that there is some blood there, so it's just a little hue. I'm not a huge fan of blood being on the eye hole or the neck, just because it doesn't make sense to me. The neck makes a little bit more sense when the needle gets pulled out, I suppose, but the eye, that having blood on it doesn't make really any sense to me. I mean, unless Michael wiped his eye, but I feel like it would look different from that, so I try to avoid it or make it at least really subtle. Let's see how this looks in camera. Hopefully I didn't move too far. It looks pretty good. So yeah, guys, this is looking pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and get into some more handheld stuff because I can't really see what I'm doing from this angle. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, guys, so there you can see it zoomed into the hair a little bit more. again, once again, getting a little bit more of that nest action going. I'm really, really liking how the hair's been coming out lately. I'm very proud of it. Even with my my attempts on a Halloween 2 mask or my attempts on a Kills or whatever, really, even a Rob Zombie mask, I'm really starting to get down the look of the nappy sort of. I mean, they're a little bit different. They vary between masks, but getting it to look a little bit more natural, a little bit more roughed up, matted, whichever it may be for specific masks. I'm getting really, really happy with how they're coming out lately. You can see that the sides of the mask are a little bit more narrow, or the sides of the hair a little bit more narrow. It's really hard to photograph these things too. When I'm doing my Halloween 2 masks, in person they look really good. It looks really tight to the head and really kind of low. But then as soon as I pull out the camera, it looks wrong. So it's really hard to photograph these things and make them look how I want them to look, or to make them look accurate to how they look in person. So like his hair might look a little bit too tall, and his hair might look a little bit too thick on the sides, but I promise you in person it looks really, really sharp. It looks pretty solid. You got the little piece coming out the back, the hair coming straight down in the back, looking very, very good. This part right here, I did try to highlight that a little bit, just because there's a little bit more detailing on the side of the mask in terms of these little concaves or little holes or whatever, or craters rather. There's not really any on this side, so I did try to highlight that one, but I think it's a little bit severe. It's kind of a little too noticeable, so I'm probably going to subdue that one a little bit. But in terms of the paint job, he's pretty much done. You can see the little hint of the blood right there. And these guys right here, they are hand painted. There's a few lines on here that are hand painted, and I feel like they don't look it, which is really, really pleasing. Really pleasing. I always struggle, especially with this one, trying to make this one look a little bit more noticeable. It's probably a little too faint, but just these groups of lines right here, it's hard to catch them with a wash, unless they look too severe. And again, it's hard to catch them with a hand painted, because again, they look too severe. So with this specific here we go. Can't talk as per usual. With these specific groups of lines on every mask, they're a bit of a pain, but with this specific one, I did do them with a wash initially, then I added the line work by hand, and then dry brushed them a little bit over so they kind of get a little bit more subdued, and that's kind of similar with the rest of the lines as well. So yeah, you can see the neck is not quite as dirty this time around, but it's got a few different hints of browns, yellows, different, a lot of different browns in this guy. There's a darker brown, a medium brown, warmer browns, cooler browns. There's a lot of different stuff. There's also cream color in the mask in different specific areas. It's just kind of hard to see them. There was a little bit of cream colored on the nose, and some of these areas right here, you can sort of see it. It's hard to pick these up on camera, especially without it freaking out. But yeah. I mean, at this point, it's harder to tell that I'm going for the stunt mask. Don't mind that. It's hard to tell that I'm going for the stunt mask. Really, the main giveaways are this sort of line and the pattern of the dirt, which isn't quite as strong on this one. And then also the dirty of the mouth. These sort of dirtiness of the mouth. These sort of lines coming down right here. And also this, the lines on the cheek reaching all the way to the mouth, and then also reaching all the way to the top. So if you don't know what you're looking for, it might be hard to tell that I'm going for the stunt mask. It might just look like a regular 2018. I don't see a whole lot of people trying to specifically aim for certain paint jobs, so hopefully that can be where my sort of spot in the community can be, my little nook, doing specific paint jobs to 2018, not just trying to capture the hero, or just a lot of people just kind of just get as many lines as possible. They try to get all the cracks, and there's not any right way to do it, I suppose, but you know, if you look at the screen use masks, sometimes, like specifically with the stunt mask, these lines right here, they're kind of covered up on my specific mask, but these sort of lines right here are very heavy. There's a little bit of sculpted lines through there, and throughout here. They're pretty heavy on the stunt mask, and I wasn't really able to get them with this one. And they're not as severe on the stunt mask, or on the hero masks. Also, the 3 lines coming down here that are hand painted on the hero, they're not really that noticeable on the sculpt itself, let alone the stunt mask. So yeah. But I'm gonna try to stop blabbing, and maybe we can take a look at this guy out in some better natural lighting. Get another swift look at the back. Hopefully the camera isn't going insane. But yeah. Super happy with how this guy's come out. Once again, this is for a customer, so this guy isn't up for grabs. If you would like a mask, not just a 2018, but pretty much any mask your heart desires, except for an ends. I haven't done an ends yet. I'd rather do my first ends for myself. That way it's not, you know, it doesn't already belong to somebody. But if you would like a mask, you can message me on my Facebook at Michael Cox, or you can message me on Instagram at @therealcox_studios. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at some outside shots and wrap this up. Okay guys, so here's what it looks like outside in front of the garage. He's looking pretty good. I wanted to get it in front of the garage, that way you guys can kind of see in natural daylight the base color of the mask compared to actual white. So you can see it's not quite super white, it's still an off-white. It's leaning a bit more towards the gray. I think this guy is about the most accurate that I've gotten with a 2018 mask thus far, and I'm real excited to keep working on him. I have another one that I'm going to be working on here shortly, and that one definitely is 100% going to be based off the hero. As much as I like the stunt mask, the hero is the next on the to-do list, because I haven't actually attempted that specific paint job since I've gotten a little bit better at these guys. But yeah, it's just a quick look at the mask in the outside natural light. I do have another couple videos that I shot outside. They're over on the deck. They're a little bit, get a little greenery behind them. They won't be in this video, but if you want to see them, I will post them as shorts, so you guys can get a look there. But yeah, I think this dude's looking pretty spectacular. Again, I just have to add the eye mesh for the customer, and then he'll be about done. So yeah. Alright guys, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and maybe hit that notification bell if you decide to do so. It would be greatly appreciated. And of course, until next time, true believers.